How important was it to get the ball inside to start the second half?
Very important. You know, once we got Josh going a little bit, everything else was easier. And not to say that it was ever easy, but it was easier. That's a very good team. You guys know that. I mean, that's one of those teams put on the schedule. You know, and I had a couple of my assistants in the summer put in the schedule and said, Coach, do you really want to do that? You know, just because, you know, we knew it would be a game like this. It's a veteran team, a tough team, a well-coached team that's going to play until the end, that's going to force you. You know, they shoot the ball so well. They share the game so well that you know, we knew we would have to play well to have a chance to win. You know, so then we come out and they're one of the better shooting teams in the country, and they hit 8 threes in the first half. And in doing that, the ones that they missed, they got a few long rebounds that we had to come up with. So, I mean, it's a lot we can take away from that. But I'm glad at the end of the day we had more points than them.
Why go zone late down the stretch in the second half? Was it to throw them off, make them?
Well, they were in a rhythm offensively, and so we went to zone. And then actually our zone was better than our man. You know, I think it slowed them down a little bit, and so that's what we stuck with.
Coach, you went a much shorter bench in the second half. Any particular reason for that, or was it just the matchups you had at the time?
Yeah, the group that was out there was doing fine, and they weren't tired. So, you know, sometimes you can go through games and you start subbing just for the sake of subbing. You know, but I thought the group we had out there was the most productive group so I kept them out.
Talk about Starks as threes. I think he might have hit 3 in a row or something like that in the second half. Did it really open up the game?
Well, I don't feel like the game ever was open. To tell you the truth, they gave us a slight cushion, but it was good. I mean, it was good to see Markel make those shots. He's been kind of talking to himself a little bit, and so it was good for him finally to put the ball in the basket. In general, we have to play much smarter than we did. You know, we made several key mental mistakes that on a different night can cost you the game. And so we have to be much smarter.
Can you elaborate on any of those?
I'll let Josh elaborate when you ask him the question. That's one of the things.
Craig?
That said, John, you know, they gave you a tough struggle. You guys survived it. You know, how does that help you going into knowing where you're playing?
Well, you know, as I said, like when I sit here and say that's a good team, all right, so that's a good win. You know, that's a tournament team, and so you know, we have a difficult first half. You know, we get up a little bit, they make a run at us. I mean, that game played out almost like a conference game a lot of times, where it's ebb and flow, and both teams are right there. So, you know, hopefully just getting better. Hopefully we won't make the same mental mistakes that I alluded to. You know, hopefully we can do a better job of knowing. I mean, as well as I think they played, you know, I don't think they did. They didn't do anything that surprised us. We knew exactly what was coming, and so we have to, as a group, as a unit, collectively, have to do a better job of helping each other at stopping what we know is coming.
Questions for the players?
Markel, what at the start of that second half for you? I mean, Coach said it was never open, but I mean, you got a good rhythm right there. Hit 3 threes and started.
Well, I don't have to answer the question.
Well, I'm just saying.
Answer right there.
No, I mean, that for you to get going.
Yeah, basically. I mean, there's going to be times where I'm going to have to score the ball, and tonight was one of those nights. But when you look at the stat sheet, the scoring was spread out. I think we did a very good job of sharing the ball, and you know, when it came time to make shots, I made shots.
Coach said you've been talking to yourself before making the shot. What are you saying to yourself?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
No frustration at all? Because not prior to today?
No. You always asking questions like that. You know I'm not going to tell.
What do you mean?
You know I'm not going to tell. Next question.
Smith, what happened on that technical and the stuff prior to that technical? The chippiness prior to that technical?
On me. Nothing happened to me. I just lost focus. That's it.
Josh, what did Coach tell you guys at halftime? At the end of the first half, you guys seemed a little deflated with the Elon Elon's play. In the second half, you came out energized. You went on a 14-5 run to start the half. What changed?
Well, we had to play defense. I mean, they had 40 points in the first half, and that's a lot. And we were doing stuff well on offense, but when we're playing good teams, you have to play defense. And let them have 40 in the first half was unacceptable. So we had to chase them off the 3-point line and make them beat us with twos.
Smith, talk about their 31's craftiness. He was able to score around the rim and also make plays for others at times. Talk about their 31's craftiness. How crafty a player is that guy?
He was all right.
And I wouldn't, me personally, like, he is crafty, but that almost like diminishes. He's a darn good player. And so, I mean, and he made plays that good players make.
Markel, did this seem, like your coach said, a conference game or tournament team? Seemed like toward the end of the game you were feeding off the crowd and there's a lot of electricity in the building, maybe for the first time this season?
Yeah, absolutely. But at the end of the day, we made plays down the stretch that we can't make. I'm in for is on the negative side, mental breakdowns, and when you're talking about in the tournament, we can't have those mental lapses. It's too vital for our team not to have those breakdowns, because when you have those breakdowns, those can escalate into something further down the road, and we just can't have that. We can't have that, and obviously we came up with the win, but those things we cannot allow that. We cannot.
Are you talking mainly about defensive breakdowns?
I'm talking about as a collective, just when things that we didn't take care of, when we didn't take care of those things, those can cost us later. And like when you're talking about that tournament atmosphere, when you're playing a better, not taking anything away from them, but a much higher level team, those can hurt. Those can hurt.
John, now that you've got through this homestand, win every game, what do you think you know more about your team now than when you started the stretch?
I think we're figuring out as a group how to skin the cat. Real cat. I think we're figuring out what to look for, what not to look for, what we do well, what we don't do well.
Coach, you out-rebounded tonight. I think only by 1 or 2 boards. But does that concern you going up against a small opponent like that?
No, they out-rebounded us.
I'm sorry, they out-rebounded you. But does that concern you when you have a much bigger opponent like Kansas coming up on Saturday?
Yeah, we have to do a much better job. I mean, that was one of the things. I mean, you talk about the deflating plays where you have a good, and we talked about it leading up to today. We talked about it at halftime. They're one of these teams that you have to guard for the whole shot clock. They're going to take they only take good shots. And so sometimes that comes 2 seconds, sometimes that comes after 32 seconds. And it's deflating. A lot of times when you guard for 32 seconds, they shoot, then they get the offensive rebound. That happened too much, but yeah, that's something that we have to do a much better job on a go-forward basis than we did today.
Stars, what's your team's approach when squads are trying to isolate 24 on the perimeter, make him play defense away from the basket? What's the team approach now?
We have to help him, but at the same time, he can get out there and guard. We're not going to treat him like, when you got to go out on the perimeter, Josh just put a hand up. No, play D. Just move your feet. And I think at times tonight he did that. Especially when you look at, 8 minutes on down in the second half. I think he did a very good job forcing 31 to take some tough shots. Some, hey, they went in, but at the same time, he forced them to make tough shots. And I think, guess what, moving forward, he's going to be put in situations where a team is going to have a smaller lineup. And we want to take advantage offensively, but defensively, he can move his feet. He can play defense, He's agile. Aren't you, big dog?
Any more questions?
Yeah. Coach, 6 of 11 from 3 for the game. It's a lot fewer than you did shooting in, say, 3-4 games ago. Was that a conscious effort? Are you trying to maybe not settle for threes as often?
Well, in general, I think that we have a presence. We have several interior presences. Is that the correct tense? Not just. Is it Brian? Is that the correct tense? Not just Josh. And so we want to play from the inside out. And that being said, we got guys that can make shots. We kick it in. He's getting so much attention, and he's a good passer. that then we're gonna get easier shots once we throw it out. So, no, we didn't go and say, no, let's not shoot your open threes, but I think the guys made a good decision on when to take them, when not to take them, when to penetrate. All right, we got 7 guys that got 9 a.m. exams. Here we go.